Hello everyone. In this video, we will discuss about the periodic trend of property electron affinity. Now, electron affinity, right? As such, it is used to indicate what is the tendency of an element to gain electron. So, what happens is if you have an atom of an element and it is gaining electron, so usually this will be associated with the formation of an anion, and in the process, right, the energy will be released. So if you look at enthalpy change for the process, remember we talked about this enthalpy change concept even in ionization enthalpy, isn't it? So ionization enthalpy, what did we talk about it? So we said in the removal, so if you are removing an electron, so you will form a cation. So for this the energy change for the process will be positive, means energy has to be given or energy will be absorbed by the process. Here usually what happens when electron is given, the energy will be released, hence it will be what, negative. So we also indicate this by using another term called as electron gain enthalpy. So what is the other term that we can use for this? Electron gain enthalpy. Okay, so electron affinity, we will indicate this in the two letters EA, and electron gain enthalpy rate, generally we will indicate this with delta H Eg. Okay, that is how we will be indicating. So either of them will represent the same aspect, which is the energy change involved in the gaining of an electron by an atom. Now when we look at the definition, right, how are we going to define? So electron affinity is defined as the energy released when 1 mole of electrons are added to 1 mole of an element in its isolated gaseous state. So here we are talking about per mole term. So if we have say for example the gaseous atoms, 1 mole of them, they gain 1 mole of electron, means each atom is getting 1 electron. So that will be resulting in the formation of an anion, and for this process, right, the energy change will be negative, means this much amount of energy. Say for example we are saying delta H is equal to minus 5 kilojoule per mole, just one indicative number, means what, this 5 kilojoule per mole amount of energy is being released. That is why the enthalpy change will be shown as what, negative. So the negative sign basically represents what, it represents that this much amount of energy is being released. Now the electron gain enthalpy rate is a term that we will identify with what is the tendency of an element to gain the electron. Okay, now theoretically speaking, right, the elements with ns2 np6 configuration, which we call as the octet arrangement, that is possessed by the inert gas elements other than helium, so they are supposed to already have a stable arrangement, which means what, they should not have a tendency to gain electron. So theoretically we will take the electron affinity of the inert gas elements to be what, 0. But practically, for say for example neon also we can give an electron, thereby it will form what, an anion. So we can calculate what is the energy exchange involved in this process, and while we said that in most of the cases it will be negative enthalpy change, electron gain enthalpy will be what, negative. But in these kind of scenarios, right, what we will see is we will not get the energy released. In fact, energy has to be supplied. If we look at the electron gain enthalpy of inert gases, right, it will be what, it will not be negative, it will be positive. So we'll talk about it. I mean, this is the practical value, but theoretically we will take it to be what, we will take it to be 0. Now if you look at the ionization energy rate, remember we talked about IE1, IE2, IE3, like that. So what are these? The ionization energy for the removal of first electron, ionization energy for the removal of second electron, like that, isn't it? So if we have an atom A, when we remove one electron, right, that will be what, that enthalpy change is IE1. From A plus, if you remove another electron, it will form A2 plus, that will be what we call as IE2, like that. So what we have observed is, every time we are removing one more extra electron, right, it is going to require more amount of energy from us. So we even saw the trend. What is it? IE1 value will be less than, IE2 value will be less than IE3, and so on. Okay, what about the electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy case? Here also we can keep on adding electrons, right? Now when we are adding further electron, right, the second electron, say already we have added one electron, imagine the second electron will be added to gaseous anion. So when you're adding electron to gaseous anion means what? Look at it, already there is an anion, means it is negatively charged. We are trying to add electron. So what we are going to observe? We are going to observe electrostatic repulsion between the electron and the gaseous anion. They both will be repelling each other. So as a result, what happens, instead of energy being released, we have to supply energy. Energy has to be supplied for the addition of the second electron. So one of the classic examples is the formation of O2 minus ion. The first step, right, when we are adding electron to form O minus, we can see clearly the electron gain enthalpy 1. We are putting it as what? Eg1. It will be what? Negative. But when we add second electron, see O minus is there. To this we add one more electron, right? We are getting O2 minus. The second step will be endothermic, means we will not get the energy released. We have to supply energy. And so much, we have to supply so much energy that the overall process, if you look at it, add both the steps. Adding both the steps, the overall process is what? It will still be endothermic. Means the formation of O2 minus starting from oxygen, right? Overall it will be what? Endothermic, means we still have to supply energy. So the first electron gain enthalpy in most of the cases will be what? Negative. What about the second? Second will be positive. Third, if you have some other elements which can form the 3 minus type of anion by gaining the third electron, in that case the third electron gain enthalpy 3, that also will be what? Positive, like that. Okay, so generally if you look at the Eg1, electron gain enthalpy 1, right, we said it is negative for most of the elements. What are the exceptions? Like we said, inert gases, already they have a stable arrangement, ns2 np6. We are trying to add electron, means it is going to disturb the stable arrangement. So instead of energy being released, what we see is we have to supply energy to disturb this. Similarly, alkaline earth metals, right, beryllium and magnesium, not all of them, beryllium and magnesium. Okay, since they already have this stable ns2 structure, okay, which is what? Fully filled s subshell structure. Okay, where by adding one more electron we are disturbing it. That is the reason why that is more prominent in the case of the first two elements, beryllium and magnesium, because of the small size of these elements. So instead of the energy being released, we have to supply energy. Same is the case with nitrogen also, because remember what is the nitrogen arrangement? 1s2, 2s2, 2p3, half filled p. But this is prominent only in the case of the nitrogen, not the other elements of the group, as the size is going to be increasing. Okay, so here what we see is the exceptions for the electron gain enthalpy value. Generally it is what? Negative. But inert gases, beryllium, magnesium and nitrogen, they will have what? They will be having positive electron gain enthalpy. We are talking about the first electron gain enthalpy. Second electron gain enthalpy for all the elements will be what? It is going to be positive. Third, it will be positive again. Okay, so only for the first electron addition, except for the inert gases, beryllium, magnesium and nitrogen, we will see that all of them will be having what? Negative value. Okay, now since we look at these two phenomena, right, ionization means what? Removal of electron. Electron affinity corresponds to what? Adding of electron. There must be relation. So these two will be related. How they will be related? We will try to look at a specific example. Look at electron affinity of A, means what? We take A and add an electron, we will get A minus. Okay, so this is electron affinity, right? So we look at delta H as what? Let us say minus X. It will be negative. Ionization of A minus means what? We will take A minus. Ionize means what? It will lose electron to form A. So if you look at this process, right, what will be this process? This is nothing but, if you call the first phenomena as equation 1, second is equation 2, what we observe is equation 2 is nothing but reverse of the first one, right? It is nothing but the reverse of the first one. So we'll learn in thermodynamics that there will be a law called as Hess law, which means what? If as per the Hess law, right, if we have a reaction, we reverse the reaction, right, we reverse the reaction, then the enthalpy change will become negative of the original value. Means we reverse the first equation, enthalpy change for the second equation will be what? Minus of minus X, which will be what? Of course plus X. In a sense, if you look at the first equation, right, let us say delta H value is minus 50 kilojoule per mole. I'm just taking some number. For the second phenomena, it will be what? Plus 50 kilojoule per mole. Means in the first phenomena, if 50 kilojoule per mole is released, negative means what? That much amount of energy will be released. Second phenomena, 50 kilojoule per mole energy will be absorbed. So numerically both of them will be equal. So electron affinity of A will be equal to ionization energy of A minus. So we can look at the other relations also. Look at this. Electron affinity of A plus means what? You take A plus, add electron, we will get what? A. That will be equal to ionization energy of A. Ionizing A means what? A will give rise to A plus and electron. You are able to see equation 1, equation 2, they are what? Reverse of each other. We look at this also. Electron affinity of A2 plus. What is electron affinity of A2 plus? It is A2 plus, we give electron to form A plus. Ionization of A plus means what? A plus will form A2 plus by losing an electron. We can see, if we call this as equation 1, equation 2, both are what? Reverse of one another. So numerically the values will be same. The enthalpy change will be what? Same. So this is what is the relation between the ionization energy and the electron affinity values. Now why we are focusing on this is sometimes in previous years, right, they have asked questions on this phenomena. Just the relation between the ionization energy and electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy. Now what are the factors on which this electron affinity will depend upon? The first is shell number or the radius. If the radius is increasing means what? The outermost orbit is going farther and farther from the nucleus, isn't it? So if the atomic radius is increasing, what is going to happen? The electron affinity value will decrease. Why? So if the outermost orbit is farther right, any electron coming into that outermost orbit will have less electrostatic force of attraction. So the nucleus will not be able to attract that electron much. Since the radius is increasing, right, the electrostatic force acting on that electron, outermost, the electron that is coming into outermost shell, right, will be lesser. So we look at two examples. Say for example, this is case 1 where we are having outermost shell here. This is case 2, outermost shell is there. When we are adding the electron to the case 2, which is the farthest one, what you are going to observe? The nucleus will not be able to attract the electron strongly, as a result of which the energy released will not be that much. So what we see is when the shell number or the radius is increasing, right, the electrostatic force of attraction on that outermost shell will decrease, which means the incoming electron will be coming into the outermost shell, right? So the incoming electron will not be attracted that much by the nucleus, as a result of which what is going to happen? The energy that is released, because more energy will be released when the nucleus is able to attract that incoming electron strongly. So when the nucleus is not able to attract that incoming electron strongly means what? That much amount of energy will not be released. So what we see is electron affinity, right, will have an inverse relation. It is not like exactly like it is like y is equal to k by x type. It is not like exactly inverse relation, but when we look at the broad understanding, it will be what? Inverse. So as the shell number or the radius is increasing, we will see that electron affinity will be what? Decreasing. So where we are going to use it? Generally when you look in a group, right, like say for example lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, you take any group, as you go down the group, what happens? Shell number will keep increasing. So as a result, the electron affinity value should be what? The electron affinity value or electron gain enthalpy, so whatever we call it, so delta H Eg. So these two values will be what? As the size is increasing, the electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity values will be decreasing. Okay, so this is about the effect of shell number or the radius. The other effect is about the shielding effect of inner electrons. Now if you have a nucleus, okay, so inner electrons are there. This is the valence orbit. Let us say this is the valence orbit. Now the electron is going to come into the valence orbit, whatever the incoming electron. If the inner electrons are able to shield, means what? The incoming electron will not experience much nuclear force. If the shielding effect, right, if the shielding effect of inner electrons, if the shielding effect of inner electrons is high, it means what? It means that incoming electron will not be able to experience that much amount of nuclear force, means that is not that much strongly attracted by the nucleus. So as a result, the energy released is going to be what? Less. Means if the shielding effect is more than the electron affinity, shielding effect generally we will indicate this with what? The shielding factor sigma. So if the shielding factor is more, it means what? The electron affinity value will be what? Less. So this is about the relation between the shielding effect and the electron affinity value. The other factor is the effective nuclear charge. So this is what we will indicate with Z effective symbol. So effective nuclear charge. So we have already video on how do we find this Z effective. So we will follow, generally we will be using the Slater's rules. Okay. There are other theories also to explain how do we calculate the Z effective. What is the concept of Z effective? You have a nucleus. If the atomic number is Z, any incoming electron, right, will not experience the total nuclear power. It is not going to experience total nuclear power. It only experience what we call as Z effective nuclear charge. It will be equal to what? Z minus sigma. The theoretical, this is what Z is, what? The theoretical nuclear power, which is nothing but the atomic number. So theoretical value minus sigma. We have to subtract the shielding constant or screening constant. So when Z effective is increasing, it means what? Z effective is increasing means what? If the Z effective increases, which means the incoming electron is going to be under stronger influence of nucleus, right? Means it is being strongly attracted by the nucleus. So when it is strongly attracted by the nucleus means what? The amount of energy released is going to be high. So electron affinity will be what? Higher. So this is about the relation between the Z effective and the electron affinity value. Now where we are going to observe it, typically when you move across a period, when we move across a period from left to right, what we see is that no more shells will be added. So what we will be able to usually observe is no more shells will be added. It is the same shell. Okay. And the Z effective value across a period will be what? Increasing. Means when you move from left to right, what we will see is that the electron affinity value also will be increasing. The other factor is stable arrangements. So if we already have a half filled arrangement or fully filled electronic configuration, so remember, this will be relevant for P, D and F, the half filled as well as fully filled, both will be relevant. Okay. But for S subshell, we only focus on fully filled. Okay. These will be what? Stable. Now, if you already have a stable arrangement, we are trying to add electron, which means what? We are trying to disturb it. So the electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity will be lesser because we will not release that much amount of energy. So when you already have a stable arrangement, right, by adding extra electron, we are not going to get that much amount of energy. So if you have the stability will come when we have the degenerate orbitals either completely filled or half filled. Okay. So when the degenerate orbitals of a subshell are completely filled or half filled, then that particular arrangement will be what? It will be comparatively more stable. Okay. So if it is more stable means it will be difficult to add electron in those orbitals. And if we still add means what is going to happen? We will not get that much amount of energy as we are expecting. So lesser amount of energy will be released on the addition of electrons. As a result, what we will be able to observe practically, the electron affinity values will be less. Okay. So when we are moving away, so what we can say, when we are moving away from stable arrangements, when we are moving away from stable arrangements, right, it results in what? It results in less electron affinity value. Okay, so we'll see what are the practical cases where we'll observe it. And the other factor is the orbitals or the subshells to which we are adding electron. Like if we are in the same principal quantum number, we already talked about it, the S subshell or S orbitals, right, they will be penetrated more strongly towards the nucleus. Okay, so the S orbitals, they will be penetrated more strongly towards the nucleus. than P, than D, than F. As a result, what happens when they are more strongly penetrated means these orbital electrons will be under more influence of the nucleus. They will be under stronger influence of nucleus, isn't it? As a result, the amount of energy released when we are adding electron to here means the amount of energy released will be high. So when we are having the same principal quantum number and we are comparing the subshells or the orbitals where they belong, adding electron to S subshell will be able to give us a higher electron affinity value than P, than D, than F. This is because of what? The penetrating. This is because of the penetrating ability of these orbitals. So S orbitals in a given principal quantum number, right? S orbitals will be penetrating more towards the nucleus than P, than D, than F. Accordingly, when we add electron means, if you are adding electron to S orbital means you are going to get more amount of energy released, like that. Okay. And similarly, when we add electron to the F orbitals, right, which are least penetrated towards the nucleus, which means the amount of energy released will be least in that case. So this is about the factors that will be able to affect the electron affinity. Now what we'll do is we look at the trend. So trend means like the way we have been doing, right? We look at the trend of the representative elements. Okay, because that is one of the more focus area in terms of study of properties of the elements. Okay, so if you look at the representative elements in a group, there will be a decrease of electron affinity. So why? Already we talked about it. Say for example, when you move down a group, so you take any group for that matter, like say for example boron, aluminum, gallium, indium and thallium. When you go down a group, what is happening? More number of shells are added, means the radius is increasing. So what we see is that generally, this is a general phenomena, the electron affinity value will be generally decreasing. So there will be a decrease of electron affinity when you go down a group. But in the p block elements, right, the electron affinity 1 of the second period element will be less than the third period element. Means we will look at, say for example, second period is what? Boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. What about the third period? The corresponding elements, aluminum, then comes silicon, then comes phosphorus, then comes sulfur, then comes chlorine. This is second period, this is the third period. Normally what must happen? As you go down, the values must decrease. That is a normal expected trend, but there is an anomaly here. We also call it as a second period anomaly. In fact, in the one of the other videos we'll discuss about the second period element anomalies also separately, but here second period elements, right, they will have lesser electron affinity than the third period elements. The reason is, when you look at the second period elements, right, they just have two orbits. We have a nucleus and the outermost orbit is what? It is the second orbit. They will be exceptionally small in size. Because of this, what happens is the second orbit, it's a very small size. Let's say there are already electrons existing. The incoming electron, right, will be repelled. Due to the small size of that second orbit, the incoming electron will be what? Repelled. Third orbit means it will be a little bit larger in terms of size. Fourth means even larger. So as a result of this, what happens is you would not get that much amount of energy being released. Because if the incoming electron is not repelled means we will be able to get large amount of energy being released. So what is the factor that is affecting here? Small size, exceptionally small size of this second period elements, right? It is resulting in what? It is resulting in lower amount of energy being released. So in the p block, the second period elements, all of them, they will have lesser electron affinity than the corresponding third period elements. So what is the reason for that? The second period elements are exceptionally small and the incoming electron will be repelled by the existing electrons. It results in what? It results in a decrease of energy is released. So it will have a energy released that will be very less than what is expected. Okay, so that is about the trend in terms of the electron affinity in a group. Now in a period, what happens? We are not adding any more shells, but when we move from left to right in a period, what is going to happen? The Z effective will be increasing. Increase of effective nuclear charge means what? The incoming electron will be attracted more strongly by nucleus. Means what? More amount of energy will be released. So what we see is in a period, Z effective increases and as a result, electron affinity also will be increasing when you move from left to right in a period. Like we can see normally it will be increasing, but If you are talking about the electron affinity of alkali metals and alkaline earth metals, in fact, alkaline earth metals, we even talked about very peculiar exception, isn't it? Beryllium and magnesium. They will not have electron affinity negative, but they will in fact have electron affinity positive. Okay. So why electron affinity of alkali metals is more than electron affinity of alkaline earth metals? Normally what will happen? Left to right means it must increase, right? So we expect alkaline earth metals are what? Second period. Alkali metals are what? Sorry, alkaline earth metals are second group. Alkali metals are what? First group. So when you move from left to right means it must increase. But what is happening here? Exceptionally, alkali metals, they have a higher value of electron affinity than alkaline earth metals. The reason is, in case of alkali metals, right, look at what is happening when we add electron. The NS1 is becoming NS2. It is what? Fully filled, S subshell. It is a stable arrangement, and it will give us what? The delta H to be negative. Whereas when it comes to alkaline earth metals, we are giving electron to NS2 structure, which means it becomes what? NS2 NP1. So we are moving away from stable arrangement. So the fully filled NS2 level is being disturbed. So as a result, exceptionally in the case of beryllium and magnesium, what we see, even the electron gain enthalpy will itself become positive. So the first group and second group elements, right, generally when you move across a period, what is expected? It should increase. Electron affinity value must increase, but first group element will have a higher value than second group element in any period. Why? Because it is because the first group element, when you add electron, means we are getting to stable arrangement. Second group element, we add electron, means we are moving away from stable arrangement. That is the reason. Now the electron affinity of carbon will be more than nitrogen. Silicon will be more than phosphorus. Germanium is more than arsenic. Tin is more than antimony. But lead will be less than bismuth. So here in the comparison, what is the comparison we are doing here? It is the comparison between the 14th group, which is the carbon family, and 15th group, which is the nitrogen family. That is the comparison here, right? So what is the general observation? Normally when you move across a period, it must increase. But here carbon is more than nitrogen. Then silicon is more than phosphorus. Germanium is more than arsenic. Tin is more than antimony. Of course, the lead case, it is as per the normal trend. What is the reason for this? The reason is, when we are adding electron to the carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, right, what are we getting to? We are getting into a stable half-filled p electronic configuration. Let's look at it. Okay, so carbon is what? 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. Imagine we give an electron. We are getting to what? 1s2, 2s2, 2p3, stable arrangement. Same will be the case of the others also. But if you are giving an electron to nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic or antimony, right, we are moving away from stable. That is why they will not have a tendency to gain. Like say for example, nitrogen is what? 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. We give an electron. We will get to what? 1s2, 2s2, 2p4 we will be reaching. We are moving away from the stable arrangement. That is why these elements will not have that much tendency to gain electron. So the 14th group element, any period you take, 14th group element will have a higher value than the 15th group. This is again an anomaly. And in this trend, the exception is what? The exception is in the case of the lead and bismuth. Okay, so this is about another anomaly across a period. So we are looking at the anomalies of electron affinity while we move in a period. So again, whenever we're discussing about the properties, right, the focus area will be on what are the exceptions and the reasons for the exceptions, because that is what we need to be keeping in mind. Now electron affinity of 1A will be even more than electron affinity of 3A. 3A means what? The boron family. In the modern number we call it as what? 13th. 1A means what? It is the first group. So we know already the first group or 1A group is more than second group, that we have discussed about it. So 1A group will not just be more than second group, it will be even more than the 3A group or 13th group. Again, the reason is 1A means what? You will have NS1 structure. By giving an electron, you will be reaching to stable NS2 structure. The extra stability coming here, right, will mean that we are going to get even more amount of energy than when we add electron to the 3a group or the 13th group. Okay, so these are the anomalies that we will have in terms of the electron affinity trend in a period. Now we can look at these values. These are the electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy values. So we can see first group, right? So first group, what are we observing? So of course, take out hydrogen, because hydrogen we will strictly not consider it as the first group element. So look at it. Lithium, it is what? Minus 60. So what is the significance of minus? It means this much amount of energy is released. Nitrogen is what? 53. Potassium is what? 48. We will see it is decreasing. But whereas if you look at the P block, right? Remember what we said? P block case, what is happening? The second period and third period, we see the second period anomaly, right? Means what? The second period oxygen, you check it, and sulfur. Sulfur value is more than oxygen. More means, then don't look at the negative. Negative represents what? That much amount of energy is being released. That is it. Okay. Chlorine value is more than fluorine. Chlorine value is more than fluorine. Okay. And we can even see over here the group 0 or the 18th group, whatever we call it. Okay. So the 18th group or the group 0, we can see that electron gain enthalpies are what? All of them are what? Positive. Which means when you add electron to the helium or neon or argon or krypton or xenon, we will not be getting energy released, but to add electron, we have to supply the energy. So this is about the trend in terms of the electron affinity. Now we look at a sample question. What is the value of electron gain enthalpy of Na+? If IE1 of sodium is 5.1 electron volt, means what? Look at this now. When we say IE1 of sodium is 5.1 electron volt, like the moment you see the question, we can think that okay, this is the relation between what? Electron gain enthalpy and ionization energy. So for that we should quickly write down the equations. Ionization energy 1 of sodium means what? You take a sodium, okay, by the removal of electron we will get sodium plus. For this, what is the energy exchange involved? It is 5.1 electron volt. That is the energy exchange involved. Electron gain enthalpy of Na+ means what? You take Na+, add electron, you will get sodium. We want to know what is the energy change in all this. Now we can see, if you look at this as equation 1, equation 2, we will be able to solve these kind of questions with more ease when we go to the thermodynamic chapter and understand the Hess law. Like you have an equation, there is energy exchange involved. You reverse the equation means, like say in the first phenomena, you are required to supply 5.1 electron volt. If you reverse it means you are going to get 5.1 electron volt, isn't it? So if you reverse the reaction, right, the enthalpy change will become what? It will become negative or minus of the original value. Means for the original equation 1, what is the enthalpy change? 5.1 electron volt. You reverse it means you are getting equation 2. Means equation 2, the enthalpy change will be equal to what? Minus of 5.1, which is what is minus 5.1 electron volt. Means what? It tells that this much amount of energy is being released. Okay, the first process, we can see ionization energy means what? If I say ionization energy is 5.1 electron volt, means that 5.1 electron volt is absorbed or that has to be supplied for the removal of electron. Electron gain enthalpy is minus 5.1 electron volt, means what? This 5.1 is actually being released. Look at the next question. This is about the comparison. Which of the following elements will have greatest electron affinity? So greatest electron affinity will be for what? If you look at the arrangement, all of them, right, they are all what? They are all the elements that will belong to second period strictly. I mean, we can even, by looking at the arrangement, we can tell. So what is this? Option D is what? This is nothing but lithium. 1s2 2s1. What is it? It is lithium. Okay. And 1s2 2s2 2p3. What is it? It is nitrogen. 1s2 2s2 2p4. What is this? Oxygen. 1s2 2s2 2p5. What is this? Fluorine. Look at how they will be arranged. Lithium, of course. Then after lithium, what will come? Beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. This is it. When you move from left to right in a period, what is going to happen? The electron affinity value will be increasing. Of course, we have the anomalies, isn't it? But here the halogen in any period, halogen will be having the highest electron affinity. So if you look at the halogen arrangement, right, what is it? It is 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. Now by gaining one electron, right, it will be reaching to what? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. It reaches the most stable structure. That is why it is going to have the highest value for the electron affinity. So what is the one that will have the greatest value for electron affinity? It is the fluorine, which will have the configuration of 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. So this is about the trend in terms of the electron affinity, and we will see in the next part video.